Now, statistics show that during the national lockdown period, reported cases of gender-based violence have spiked. Having launched in 2017, the hashtag NOEXCUSE is calling Black Label's initiative aimed at driving awareness, provoking action and providing tools to take positive action as a means of creating a better world. The hashtag NOEXCUSE campaign refers to there being no excuse for men to abuse women and no excuse for men to stand by and do nothing when others abuse. Medical doctor Dr. Musa Mthombeni joins us now via Skype to share more on this campaign. Dr. Mthombeni, a very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning to you and everyone that is currently watching.
Most of the time, Dr. Mthombeni, the focus is normally put on women and their challenges. But what sort of challenges do men face on a daily basis?
So I think a lot of men face a lot of pressures. And I mean, we could have a real big round table about this discussion, all the issues that men go through, but the channels that they actually don't have to seek the help that they may need, but also the support that they may need. So what NOEXCUSE decided to do was, especially during this lockdown period with all the GBV cases being reported increasing, was of course try and make a plan to help out all the women that are in these situations and give them an option to get the help that they may need, but also offer help to the men that are in the homes, stuck with the women, that are also experiencing the same pressures that exist in community, in their lives, with losing their jobs, all these sort of things, and end up abusing and taking out their frustrations on the women that they live with. So they provided and want to provide help for men in terms of counseling, mentorship, as well as just general information.
You know, the phrase "men don't cry" has been instilled in many cultures for decades and perhaps centuries. So what sort of repercussion has this created and has this had on men?
Terrible, terrible, terrible phrase. I must say, one of those things where if you were to ask a man, when's the last time you cried, they'd find it very difficult to give you one. It's either surrounded by things such as, it was my grandmother's funeral. It's always something that requires extreme emotion to make men cry. And nothing, I don't want to say recreational, but I think you get what I'm saying, where if you're having a bad day, you could really just sit outside and cry. And it's really okay. So I think some of the factors that have contributed to this are things such as ideas of patriarchy, that men should, be leaders, men should not show weakness, men should be the people that continually show strength at all times. And if you show an ounce of weakness, i.e. crying, then you're not a man. And these very bad social norms that we've really just normalized are not it. And I think as 21st century men, it's up to us to really just grow out of that thinking and realize that me being emotive is actually better. I need to develop some sort of EQ to become a better person. So I know how to relate to women, young children, other men, and
Yeah, and having said that, Dr. Mthombeni, what typical wounds or scars do many men have and carry that needs far more societal attention and, and help the campaign will be offering?
So there are tons of scars. I mean, we come from a society that pre-94 has got its own big issues that we need to deal with. We come from situations where men were not living with their families. They had to go out to the mines, they had to go out to the farms, they had to leave their primary homes to go make some sort of money to send back to their homes. So I think we've got generations and generations of psychological help that we need to look at and try root out. But what we can do at this present moment, because I mean, to sit down with old men and try negotiate, to have those discussions with them, it will prove quite difficult. So I think it's up to us to be as proactive as we can with any parts of this generation and slowly start etching away at these big things that, let me call them boulders, that we need to shape out and sculpt the men that we want to have.
All right, talk to us about depression amongst men. How do they deal with it, or how should they deal with it, if at all? I mean, we've just been talking about the fact that as a result of patriarchy, men are expected to pull this brave face and deal with their problems in their own little corner.
So, look, depression is a big thing. Of late, getting the media attention that it should be getting. I think, especially in the black community, we as black people have not regarded depression as the thing. It's wahlanya kapa ukwatile, which isn't that, it's one of those things that is there. Medically, you can prove it, and we need to start making awareness a big thing. We need to start making drives for men, especially, to look into themselves, establish what problems they may be facing, establish how they feel about certain things, look at the whole clinical picture of what depression is, and then start looking at how we can look at these issues and conquer these issues. I mean, there's medical help, there's psychological help, but there's also, like you mentioned, the social element that we actually need to look into. And the social element encompasses looking at the factors that influence how men can get depressed. I mean, there are many examples that you see of how people have said to others that no man, it's not this, it's not what you think it is. But we as men need to start having these honest discussions with each other to say, this is what depression looks like for men. And this is how we are going to remedy this situation.
And I guess these cultural nuances that we've been, observing for decades has necessitated this narrative of men don't cry. And if you talk of depression, I mean, we were internalized from a very early age that what is depression? Don't be a crybaby. So in terms of the level of awareness with regards to these issues, where do you think men stand in terms of being aware what depression is and how they should deal with it?
Look, it's near nothing because no one gives you the information that you need. I mean, when people describe things such as depression, they'll say things like, you're just sad all the time. Now, if you have to go to a job every single day, you have no time to be sad. You're told you shouldn't be sad. So as a man, you acknowledge at this point that, no, I can't be depressed because I'm not really sad. And just breaking it down to that small level and just zooming it into that bit makes it very difficult for someone to think that they may be depressed. So I understand how difficult it could be for someone to recognize the signs that they are depressed, but we need to, I feel, go onto a drive. And on this drive, highlight what's important, what you look out for, what depression can manifest itself as. But sometimes it doesn't come the way that we think it's going to come. And the way that it brings itself highlights how different coping mechanisms have existed in the past and how you could have this depression, but you're not noticing it because you're masking it with the drinking, with excessive going out and all these other things that do exist.
All right, let's talk about the hashtag NOEXCUSE, about what the role you play there. And I do understand there's a WhatsApp line that has been launched. So are you hoping that people will use that line maximally?
That's our biggest hope. The big hope is that that line is used. I mean, with all the GBV cases that have been reported since the start of lockdown and even before this, a lot of people just find it difficult to get some sort of help. You're stuck in the house. A lot of the time, the person that's abusing you is the primary breadwinner or whatever it might be. So you find it difficult to leave a situation or be able to get out the house. And with the lockdown, what was accentuated is the idea that we're all in the same house. I can't move. I can't go anywhere because I'm not allowed to go anywhere. So on a normal daily basis, you could escape your abuser by going to work. And then, sure, at least you've got 9 hours out of this guy's face. But now when the lockdown is coming, you really are stuck in this house with this person. So coming up with alternative ways for people to get help, apart from having to make a phone call, because that within itself brings about a discussion with your abuser that you may not want to have. So what you end up doing is you take your phone out, you save the number 0800 150 150, and in that you send a text. The text says brave, and then you'll get prompts that will lead you to get the help that you specifically want in this case, whether it's counseling for men, whether it's and women, whether it's information, whether it's mentorship. There are avenues that you can use to get the help that you do want to get, whether you're the abuser or if you are being abused.
Well, do you think that in South Africa we're better placed or better equipped, in particular for men, to provide the kind of confidential help that men need? Because I see so many men out there being very, embarrassed and ashamed of picking up the phone call and, reporting abuse at the hands of their female partners.
Yeah, I mean, we all feel embarrassed by something or the other. Sadly, a lot of the embarrassment that these men would face is embarrassment that is what I don't want to say warranted, but you get what I'm saying, in that you've done something wrong to someone. So you should feel bad about it. But because you are seeking help, and there's an element, of course, that we need to address here, the confidentiality now exists. You'll be sending your messages, you'll be getting responses, you'll be getting the help. but also you'll be taking the step to getting better. And of course, the stuff is done with all the elements of confidentiality existing. So when lockdown does ease down, then you'll be able to go into a facility and be seen by someone. You'll get the counseling that you do need. You will get the mentorship from different groups that work with No Excuse. So there is an element where help will be given to you by you consulting or being seen by someone. But for what we can do now, so that we're not sitting and waiting for bad things to happen, is assess and get the help that you can by using the platforms that we do have, like the campaign where we're using WhatsApp.
Yeah, and speaking of that platform, do share with us the details as to what should men do and the numbers to call if they find themselves at the hands of an abuser.
So what you do is you save the number 0800 150 150. Call it whatever you want to call it on your phone. Now, this is for both men and women in this situation. Then you take out your phone and type a text to the number that you've just saved. The word that you're typing is BRAVE, so brave. So you step out and be brave, send that text, and then from there you will get prompts that will lead you to the channel that you need to go to. So this involves counseling, this involves mentorship, and of course, counseling, which is very important in this case. And just follow those prompts and then you'll get the help that you need. It really is that simple. A WhatsApp message and you get the help that you need.
All right. Thank you so much for chatting to us, Dr. Mthombeni. Well, the Bravest Thing program will be rolled out on social media with the assistance of influential figures in television, presenter and medical doctor Dr. Musa Mthombeni, sports presenters Thomas Mlambo and Andy Ngube, radio DJ Moeti Mo Flavor Tseki, and former football player Pumudzo Manezi.